the rest of the community except our chapters. And I think that would be a good start.
That's taxpayer money. Taxpayers are not educated as to what Archway is gonna bring to this community. I mean, we know, or we think we know, but I think that it would be a lot more palatable to taxpayers if they know that it's not just a city-county school system partnership. I mean, you know, the whole goal of this is not, of course, the city and the county and the school system, if they can pay, if they're gonna be allowed to pay for this project, which is not educational. This is community development. So before I would agree to anything, I would certainly have to have a memorandum of understanding, which I don't, apparently that doesn't even count with them, to know for sure that they're gonna do that. But I don't know what the resistance is for trying to get the development authority help. I mean, this is a big development authority project. They have money just like, and they don't, it's not even really taxpayer money, like we have to handle. They should be involved in this. It's, you know, it's not rocket science, you know, and we should at least take the opportunity to ask them so we know where we stand in terms of that. This money that we would be giving, you know, you may say it's just $20,000. It's 20,000 taxpayers' dollars that may go to, I don't know, filling a pothole or anything else. Putting some more books in the library, buying 2 or 3 more computers in the library, whatever. Every penny really makes a difference. So if we're gonna go out on a limb on some program we haven't even educated the community about, which many of us don't even know the difference in where Archway stands and how or if this is gonna affect the academy that's gonna be established, hopefully, construction of it is gonna be starting in the fall. How do we expect taxpayers to be in agreement with us for the justification for spending this money for something nobody knows anything about? We just found out about it, what, 3 months ago? Right.
A pledge is a pledge. If we pledge the money, we have to spend. If we get the additional resources to come on with the city, county, development authority, or whoever, yes, then we are saying we will put money up, but we will do it if everyone else does. Yes, we've obligated funds by saying that, taxpayer funds. But revenues, the future of Spalding County, it's time to either get off the pot and move forward. And I think that's what we're trying to do here as a commission.
Just a couple of things, just so you're aware of everything. Drew Whalen has looked at this, and he has sent an email out that some of you may have. Long and the short of it is Drew questions whether or not this is a proper subject for intergovernmental agreement. He also is concerned that at least from the city's standpoint, there's no direct statutory authority to let them spend money like this. He suggests that we look at it more along the lines of a contract for services, which we enter into all the time. But his concern is that it is typical of contracts drawn by the academia. He goes into a lot of detail about resources and books and office space. It's kind of short on exactly what are they going to do. And you can't tell by reading this candidly. I don't have the same concerns that Drew does. I think it is clearly a contract for services rendered which would be very valuable to the county. That doesn't bother me. Would like to see a little bit more meat to the bones. Exactly what are you going to do for us for this $20,000? Tim Shepard, I know, was sent a copy of that. He was in the middle of a deposition, and his email basically said he'd have to get with the board. And whether or not they can do it, I don't know. But if you want to kind of get this behind you, you could make the recommendation that we pledge our 20 contingent upon the county, the city and the school board handing up theirs. And I see nothing in that would prevent us from contacting other entities, hospital, development authority, anybody, Southern Crescent, and saying, we would really love for you guys to get in on this. I mean, I think the more the merrier, but it's a great project. It's apparently done very well in a lot of places, and it sure couldn't hurt us. So I think we can do it. I think we're authorized to do it. We hire consultants all the time, so it doesn't bother me. So I think you could make it contingent that if the other two sign on, we sign on, and we'll pay our money. You know, if they fall by the wayside, then I suppose this deal will fail unless we can get other partners in there.
Mr. Ford, I know that we went and had our retreat at UGA and that it was very informational. I just have some concerns about these services with Archway. I mean, I know that it worked in Clayton County and they have a little bit different demographics than us, and in Glenn County, you know, different income status, but smaller population. But, you know, we kind of talk taxpayers into spending $10 million on the UGA Center. And they got, you know, 18 people in it, and that's $10 million. So, you know, when I'm looking at this, what guarantee do we have that, you know, that this is gonna come into fruition? You know, like I said, if the board decides that they want to make a commitment and 3 people say they want to do it, that's fine. That's fine, I'll go with whatever. I'm just simply saying, if we follow the rule of what the facilitator said for buy-in, then everybody needs to be asked to buy in so that they have an idea what the potential need is from everybody. Because if you tell me that the school board, the city, and the county is gonna spend $20,000, you can ask me all day. If I know y'all got the money, I'm not gonna be trying to ante any up. So how important is it to the development authority? How important is it to tenant? How important is it to these other folk, Georgia Power, all the other folks that came to that retreat? How important is it to them? Is it important enough for you to come out of your pocket with some money? You know, I mean, I think that any money that we put into this will be fine. We have to make a commitment for 3 years, but anything that we do, you know, I think that what we plan to give should be contingent on seeing what others plan to do. I mean, because I don't think it's a three-group project. It's just not.
I have a problem spending any more tax money. I can just tell you right now. We don't even know, every time I turn around, we're taking the property off the tax digest. Doesn't make any difference what it is. We're taking that up at Walmart off. We're taking 600 some odd acres off here at the airport. All this land's gonna come off. Where's the money gonna come back to replace it? Here we are taking $20,000 here, $20,000. Every time you turn around, there's more money coming out. Somebody's asking for money. We need to put a stop to something. I'm not trying to stop Spalding County from growing, but the taxpayers of Spalding County can't stand anymore. I'm telling you, that's all I hear. What are we gonna do about cutting taxes? What are we gonna do about employees getting a raise? We got employees leaving because they're making money someplace else. And we're spending $20,000 here. We're gonna lose 607 acres on the airport. And I'm telling you what, that ain't even the touch of it. You get a copy of the map, it's gonna eat us alive before it's over with. I mean, you got brown spots out there in the middle of the airway that they're not buying. I don't understand how they ever come up with this. I wish y'all would look at the map, because I have looked at it. And I've got a copy out there. I want to bring it in here. I may bring it in here before we leave. But somebody's got to say no someplace. Because I tell you what, the taxpayers of Spalding County are fed up. And that's what we were put up here for, is for the taxpayers and for the county. Whether we make progress and save the taxpayers money. And we're not doing either one of it.
One of the areas I don't think we need to drop the ball on, and that is the form of education. And we already know the situation here as far as, you know, the school systems and you know, what the perception is here. I think this program, and I understand what Commissioner Flowers is saying, but I believe this program is a great way to segment and change the perception and actually put it to business, put some action behind it. I mean, some of the things that, you know, they're talking about doing is having work-based programs for students, higher academic programs, things like that that you can actually see. You know, citizens will be able to see that. They should be able to witness that. you know, and want to be a part of it, which is going to allow other people to want to see what we're doing to also come, you know, into this community. That's just the way I look at it. Something needs to be done, we know it. And this is a program that will actually allow that to happen. Mr. Right?
Madam Chair, we keep using distractions to try to make a point. The airport has nothing to do with what we're doing here. Mr. Miller and I are both on the airport authority and well versed in what's going on there. The bottom line comes down to here is, yeah, we're spending taxpayer money. We are. But we're spending taxpayer money to gain a dividend, not today, but for tomorrow or in the future, so that we can ease the pain financially on the county and on the taxpayer. We don't have a crystal ball where we can sit down and say, yeah, this is going to work or this isn't going to work. But we have to have the courage to step up to attempt, to make the attempt. If not, we're not going to move anywhere. And it's always convenient for us as commissioners to throw out the issue of we need to save money, we need to do this, we need to quit spending money, when we ourselves have pet projects that we throw out and get funded. So if we're going to do it, and we're going to say that, then we need to stop all the way around, not just on certain projects that are on our pet peeves, pets.
Mr. Lawson?
Madam Chairman, just a correction. I've read through all this information about Archway, and there's nothing in here that addresses the education aspect of our community. It says, it talks about education as one of the stakeholders, but it also talks about what Archway does actually involve needs assessments for the community, for land use, for those things. So just so people understand, this Archway is not connected to the Career Academy.
No, it's not.
You know, and the only reason that there is an education aspect to it is that because UGA is going to be using their educational resources to do this mapping for us. Before I forget what I was going to say, I thought Commissioner Miller was going to be saying that he had concerns about other stakeholders not putting money in, which I thought would help my argument. Let's scratch that. But anyway, it says here that local stakeholders include city and county government, boards of education, chamber of commerce, development authorities, technical colleges, local colleges and universities, hospital authorities, and similar entities in the community. And they deal with, it's a mechanism to provide a partnership for grassroots needs assessment, strategic planning, and the connecting of higher education resources that can be beneficial in helping the community achieve its goals and objectives. So, you know, it's to help us establish some collaborative effort. And so in order for you to collaborate, you need more than a drop in the bucket. That's all I have to say.
After this, I'm going to hush. We all agree it takes a community to raise a child. And I agree with Gwen that it's going to take the school board, it's going to take all members of the chamber, it's going to take businesses, and it's going to take the three governments in order to move Spalding County, City of Griffin, Spalding County school system, taxpayers, everybody forward. It's going to take everybody because it takes a village to do that. And with that, education is one of the major factors that we have in this community that is holding us back. It's not our school system. We have a good school system. It gets rated on different scales on this, that, and the other. But I believe in our school system. I believe in the teachers and the people in our school system. And what we need to do is come back as a community, as a family, as parents and children and teachers, and say education is important because education affects the economics of our community. And so I agree with you. Education is an issue. I agree with what Gwen said. It's not specifically identified as a item in the Archway program, but it is a process within the Archway program, and it is a factor we have to consider and work on in order to improve the overall Spalding County City of Griffin. So,
Anybody else like to add anything?
This memorandum of understanding that was distributed, I agree with Jim that it's pretty short on describing what Archway will do, and then it needs to go back to the drawing board, but, I mean, as far as this workshop is concerned, I think it's appropriate to express, you know, our opinions on whether to go forward with this, and once the, something that's more definite can be drafted, whether it's by our local government council or by council for UGA, and then it gets, you know, put on the meeting agenda, it can be discussed, you know, I assume it'll go through the regular motion process, 2 readings and so forth. We can educate our constituents and the taxpayers of Spalding County as to what we see as the benefits to entering into this. We're talking about a 1-year agreement, and
3 years.
3 years.
well, this contract, this the MOU,
Yeah.
It's a 1-year agreement for 3 commitments,
you know, well, but
which can stop.
it can also be terminated
Can be
on
after
90 days'
yes.
notice. And I think that the 3 local government entities, the county, the schools, and the city, yes, we should solicit the participation of other stakeholders, other major players in our business, and nonprofits and so forth to support and participate in this. But if we can't get them involved at the front end, I would think that there would be, hopefully, this will be enough progress going forward with the 3 entities taking a leadership role and trying to get the ball rolling for, you know, striking improvement in terms of cooperation, working among all 3 of these entities at least, and being leaders. And then, you know, if beginning at the 2nd or 3rd year, you know, folks like Tenet and the Development Authority, although the Development Authority would sort of be recycling some funds we already give it,
Right.
correct, to
Yes.
operate.
We fund the development authority.
Yeah, so,
They make their own money.
you know, but if we have to go along with 2 other partners, you know, the schools and the city, I'm fine with that. And if it's a matter of funding to continue the process, and hopefully a process that's working, then at that point, we can insist on others stepping forward and funding the entire undertaking. That's my view on the topic. So we'll go ahead and revise the MOU or the contract for services. We want to get real specific about what Archways will provide to the, as they call it, the Spalding partners. And then we'll bring it back in front of the board on regular motion readings and with the opportunity for citizen comment and education. And then decide whether it is or is not a wise use of $20,000 of the commissioner's discretionary fund.
Has the city voted on this already?
No.
Okay.
And I failed to tell you, Drew Whalen has already contacted an attorney at UGA that he knows and is going to, and maybe already has, discussed this with him about fleshing this thing out with a little bit more detail. I think the city, from what Drew tells me, I think the city clearly is in favor of doing this because it's sort of like we got to do something, and this has been successful other places. So, I mean, I think they want to approve it, but it needs to get in shape where their attorney can tell them it's okay. And I think that's what Drew is working with the fellow at UGA about. School board, I don't know, because Tim's been out of pocket.
They're in favor of it also, they're willing to put their money in as well. The school board.
I'm sure they are. All they need is somebody to tell them it's okay.
Well, and that's the question. You know, I would certainly feel more comfortable knowing that it is an item, because this is not an education item, so, you know, I don't want to come back at the last minute and, oh, we can't spend this because it doesn't deal with education.
Well, they need to give us an answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
That's why I
that,
was suggesting, if you wanted to do this, you could pledge your $20,000 contingent upon the other two entities stepping up to the plate and paying theirs.
Or a total of $60,000 being contributed by different agencies.
I mean, y'all could always do that. Yeah. But if you wanted to retain some control where you can pull the money back and things just don't pan out, I mean, the mere fact we are quote pledging it is a lot different than writing a check. If the deal falls apart, it's not going nowhere.
So do we need a vote on this?
Can't vote in the workshop.
I mean, you can vote on it if you want to vote on
I mean,
it.
just
Work it
just
out.
this Archways partnership could help us get to a resolution of the 800 megahertz problem. That alone, to me, would be worth spending the money on. You're coming up with a mutually acceptable, resolution that everybody can live with without, what's the alternative? Litigation. Who wants to do that? And that to me would make it worthwhile.
Do you think that's in the spectrum of what it is that Archway would do? I don't think that's,
I do.
mediation would,
I do, I mean, what I heard described in October 9th and 10th in Athens about the Archway program struck me as very much being a mediator, but a communication facilitator among three entities that need to work together to move this community forward. And they're very skilled, they seem to be very skilled at doing that. They've set a track record of success. And we're gonna go on a waiting list of communities who wanna hire them. Am I correct?
No.
Isn't there?
Well, there is that's the reason of us wanting to move it
Yeah.
forward, because they would be able to move us up to like the 21st stage.
Well, see,
So there is a waiting list.
so, but my understanding is that, what they've done with these other communities that have brought them in is, vastly improved the working relationship. And that would include, continuing festering disputes that, frankly, are gonna result in us getting reimbursed, the county getting reimbursed some acceptable amount of money for a long-standing problem. So that to me alone would be worth it. That is just something else that I assume can be debated when and if this comes before us as a motion.
If we can, and you said it would be okay to do it, go ahead and make the vote contingent on the other bodies of government, does that have to have the pledge there? Is that okay for us to go ahead and do
Yes,
that?
because until this contract is in shape that they'll approve, there's nothing for the three of us to sign. So, but that's what I'm saying, if we make it contingent upon them agreeing to proceed with this program and handing up their money, we're saying, we'll ante ours up as well. And if for whatever reason we can't come up with a document that everybody will sign, then there's not gonna be a deal. Yeah, so,
You wanna make one here, or do you wanna?
Go ahead and make the motion.
Okay. Madam Chair, I move that the Spalding County government pledge the funding of $20,000 to the University of Georgia Archway program and establish a communication with the city and school board as well as other affiliates within the community to assist in payment for this program.
Second.
but don't you wanna make that contingent upon the other people handing up?
That's what he said. He included
Did
that.
you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He said the city, county, school board, and other forms.
I agree, and I implied it, but I didn't say it, and that is contingent upon successful collection of $60,000 for the overall Archway program.
But ours not to exceed 20.
Yeah, not to exceed 20 for the Spalding County board. So
Second.
amended.
Second. All those in favor?
any discussion?
I'm sorry. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chairman, I am totally opposed to us taking a vote in the workshop where the citizenry of Spalding County has not had an opportunity to be here to verbalize their concerns with this commitment. And I think that, in a workshop, you should do work, and that you should not be voting on items that have not been publicly put out that are going to be actual items. all I have.
Anybody else bring discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 3, opposed, 2. Okay. Next item on the agenda, discussion of the North Hill Street North Side Drive to Stevie Avenue and